Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it looks like the review embargo is up on She-Hulk, and the reviews aren't so great.
Well, no, according to other sources, it's fantastic, and it's what we all needed. It's the bestest MCU show ever.
We're gonna talk about this because I have a strong feeling that Disney is gonna go into damage control mode with She-Hulk, and then we're gonna talk about how the She-Hulk star is addressing the sexist backlash. Now, the Daily Beast actually had one of the most scathing reviews of this show so far. They said it's basically just hot trash. It's the worst thing Marvel's ever produced. And I guess they're just sexist.
Well, yeah, because no one likes She-Hulk, and no one ever liked She-Hulk, and men are just so turned off about this whole idea of a female superhero like She-Hulk, even though most people love the character and love the comics.
The original character, the original comics.
Right.
Yeah. Now, of course, we haven't seen it yet, so we're just gonna talk about the chatter around She-Hulk. But so far, what I am seeing is they've only got, as of recording this video, Rotten Tomatoes only have 3 positive reviews, but most of the reviews I've found
3 out of 5, 3 out of 4.
That's not really great. But
they're not great either, yeah.
But look at some of these headlines. It said it wants to be more Fleabag than Falcon the Winter Soldier. Sometimes it works. This one, She-Hulk attorney at law. This is the Daily Beast. She-Hulk attorney at law is Marvel's hot trash and it's most offensive. She-Hulk attorney at law is peak Uncanny Valley, but it works. It works. Review, She-Hulk attorney at law is so close yet so far from greatness. These don't sound like glowing reviews, but blame sexism, right?
Right. It's clearly it's just because you don't like women.
You don't like women. So anyway, we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 274,000 subs. Thank you so much for the support. We do talk about Marvel, talk about comics. We've been kind of following She-Hulk. I'm to the point with Marvel that I'm at with Star Wars where I really don't care one way or the other anymore.
They said in general people are turning off of Star Wars and Marvel because there's too much and they go too far from what you're used to.
It's very middling. A lot of the stuff that we've seen on Disney Plus is very middling, and there has been a decline in viewership show after show after show.
Has.
I mean,
that's provable.
That is provable, and I did a video last night talking about Disney Plus numbers, and they said that they actually bet and lost. They placed Obi-Wan against Stranger Things 4.
Oh yeah, that was never.
And they moved Andor to be away from Lord of the Rings and the Game of Thrones prequel because Disney is like, the brand's not as good as it was, and we're gonna see that anyway. She-Hulk, it's coming out. The reviews. Not great. A lot of people are like, it's sexism. I'm like, look, the comic came out in the 1980s. It was a huge, huge hit in the 1980s.
Well, here's the thing, too. Here's what gets me. They're equating people not liking the one preview and questioning like that. It's Disney doing their own damage, okay? People saw the trailer. Yes. And they had her and Professor Hulk, and he was teaching her stuff, and no matter what it was, she was better at it than him. It's about balance, and she's doing like all these poses about all these things. No matter what it was, they showed her as immediately being better at it than he was.
The better Hulk.
Yes, also she got her powers in a little bit different way people didn't care for, but they kept showing that. Now, in a later trailer, they showed that he did throw a rock way farther than her, so obviously that he has some strengths too. Had they led with that, they could have avoided a lot of issues, which makes me think they did the damn thing on purpose to try to trigger people to be like, look at all the istophobes, typical Disney before it launches. It's not because it sucks. We got a lot of complaints about the CGI and stuff. It's because of istophobic, misogynistic people. And that's what they're equating. They're equating not liking the Mary Sueism that you showed them in the trailer with not liking She-Hulk. And it's not the same thing.
Yeah, now it's so weird because her co-star, Jamila Jamil, who plays a villain in this show, just a week or two ago, she said that, sometimes the Marvel fans are right. Sometimes, they're right in their complaints and we should listen to them. And she thought Titania's outfit looked like trash. And she seems pretty based. I've actually seen some interviews with her, and she seems pretty middle of the road, not getting caught up in this. But of course, this is what you're saying. Like this is Disney's marketing. And we've seen it. And at first it was shocking. It was shocking in like 2017. And
now it's brand damaging.
Now it's just old. It's like, oh my God, people don't like it. They're sexist, they're bigots, they're misogynists, they're homophobes, they're anti-Semitic, they're blah, 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 blah.
I'm going to give you some free advice, Marvel and Disney. And, you know, this is the same stuff that you're paying people a whole bunch of money for. I'm just going to give it to you for free. Here's the thing. When you're doing these shows, one, stick to what people know. Two, really think through what you're putting out there as your teaser trailers, because it's like you're deliberately trying to cause controversy and turn your audience away before your show even debuts. Like, we haven't even seen your show yet. A lot of people want to see this show, but you're kind of turning people off before the show even starts. And then as soon as before the show starts, you start yelling racism, misogyny, all this shit. You're already, everybody who you did have on board, a bunch of those people are going to be like, nope, I'm out. Because if you're leading with that, and you're accusing me, I'm not giving you my time.
I've actually avoided movies or TV shows that weren't quote unquote woke because of the media drumming up all this fake outrage over like, oh my God, the bigots and the Nazis don't like the black people in the show. And I've actually avoided shows because I'm like, God, I'm tired of hearing about it. And then I would go back and watch it, or I'd watch the movie. This happened with Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad. I actually avoided watching it because everything was like, the bigots don't like the Harley Quinn and the Nazis don't like the James Gunn and da-da-da. And I watched it months later out of the theater, and I didn't like the first Suicide Squad very much either. But, we had all the Birds of Prey crap being drug into it, and I watched Suicide Squad, and I was like, I freaking love this movie. And I love Peacemaker. But because of these media outlets, I avoided the movie like the plague for months.
So, you all get mad at us, Hollywood people, but we're at least honest up front, and we aren't going out there and dragging your movie into a bunch of controversy before it even starts. And I think Disney themselves do that often.
They do it.
With their previews especially. They deliberately previewed it that way.
Yeah, they were like, oh boy, the men are going to get mad. I'm like, you mean the same men who were buying the comics back in the 1980s?
She-Hulk was one of the most anticipated shows by fans. I've seen so many people were so excited about this show. And then the closer we got and the more we saw of it, they're like, what is this?
Yeah, and the CGI did not do them any favors, and that was what most of the complaints were about, the CGI and the jokey tone.
I think they did fix some of the CGI, though.
It looked a little better. Well, anyway, here's what Tatiana Maslany said. She's the star, and it's in kind of direct contrast to what her co-star said. She said the star addresses the visceral response to the Disney Plus series. As reported by the direct, Maslany revealed during a press conference she was expecting a visceral response to the upcoming series and address the sexist backlash directed at her character. Yeah, I also feel like I'm curious about what kind of conversations people will have about this show with each other, depending on, I think people, can have a real visceral response, like a woman superhero, which we've already felt, online.
You know what? There are a lot of female superheroes. There have been for decades. There have been, here's a shocker for people like her. Guess who led the X-Men back in the day? Who was it?
Yeah, we've talked about this multiple times. Everybody's like, oh my God, people just don't like
That's not true.
The Nazis don't like the black ladies. It's like, yeah, Storm was the leader of the X-Men, and both Storm and Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, when I came into comics, when I started reading Marvel comics regularly, they were both very prominent characters, and I believe they were both leading their respective teams at the same time in the mid-1980s.
Right. So it's not about female superheroes. Again, this She-Hulk, highly anticipated by a lot of people. I saw so many.
She-Hulk was huge.
Yes, everybody loves She-Hulk. A lot of men love She-Hulk. I'm a woman and I'm like cringing about some of the stuff I'm seeing. And it's not about a visceral response because they don't like women. It's about the fact that there's a way to do these shows and do them well. Like a female superhero comes in, and She-Hulk is a really fun character because she does break the fourth wall and things like that. There's so much you could do with her. And what your lead-in is look, she can do everything better than the Hulk can. And that's what people are getting tired of. They're tired of, and it's really disrespectful to women too, that you put these characters in, these great characters, and then you make them unlikable by some of the choices you make. And, because they're automatically the perfect, the bestest at everything. Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons people say this show is actually pretty good, is because she does have a lot of flaws, which I think would make it a good show. I'm not going to judge it until I see it, but the reviews we're seeing aren't that great.
No, so we're going to talk about that, but I'm going through what she said, and she's not calling out, she herself is not calling out the sexist backlash.
The media is.
The media being like, there's sexist backlash. Actually, most of the backlash I have seen is over the shitty CGI.
But the media immediately. The media keeps running with these narratives that aren't even true. And Disney, they're not doing you any favors. They're turning your fan base away. Why is it dropping off? Well, one, your subpar content, but two, you got these people that are out there attacking the fans before it even begins. Even with Star Wars, you guys kind of yourself attacked the fans before the show even came out.
Yeah.
This is biting you in the ass. And they make comments like, well, the genuine fans, the people that agree with me, they're the genuine fans.
God. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at these reviews. They're not reflected yet in Rotten Tomatoes, and they're not great. They're very middling. I mean, some of them are just scathing.
We might watch it and really like it.
Yeah, it might be.
Who
okay,
knows?
But
not out yet.
They gotta stop. They have to stop this.
When's it out?
It drops tomorrow,
oh, okay,
so
tomorrow.
The review embargo is up like a day before. I am really surprised Hollywood hasn't pushed. I'm sure they will, because they used to review stuff like a week out, 2 weeks out, and I'm waiting for them to be like, we're not going to drop reviews until we've had plenty of watch time.
I'm sorry, this is funny. I love this. There may have been potential to do something campy and fun, but this cringeworthy series is a Hulk smash on the skip button.
Oh my God.
Oh
my God. Yeah, they're talking. He's actually. This is coming from the Daily Beast guys. This is coming from the Daily Beast. They're talking about how shitty the MCU has been. Oh my God, are they alt-right?
They must be. How dare they?
Is the Daily Beast alt-right? The latest Thor entry was middling. Ms. Marvel squandered a promisingly progressive tale. Eternals was a visually bland superhero link-up. Black Widow was a confoundingly boring letdown that arrived long after the star hero was already dead. The MCU has garnered a sour reputation for following the same pattern films and television shows to announce at flashy cons, with an increased move toward diversity in stories. When it was announced that She-Hulk would be the next hero to enter the MCU, there was an inkling of promise. That's true.
People were very excited about it. I mean, contrary to the narrative.
Yeah, so it was the Orphan Black Star, which I actually have only watched like 1 or 2 episodes of Orphan Black. People are like, don't you know who she is? I'm like, not really. I don't really care. Just by the concept, there's a chance for them to lean into the campiness. So they said this is why it stings. Once again, She-Hulk's potential is wasted. The show's premise is strong, but yeah, dragging but necessary amount of flashback and exposition. Now these are just the first couple episodes, but yeah, it's like Fleabag. They say it's basically Fleabag with middling CGI. And it's bafflingly inconsistent. Now, it's interesting about the courtroom scenes, though. A couple people sent this over. They said they didn't do a lot with the courtroom scenes. This is about She-Hulk attorney at law. But the writer's original pitch included a trial for the abomination that spanned multiple episodes. One thing we all realized very slowly was none of us are that adept at writing, rousing trial scenes. It's called She-Hulk attorney at law. Was it Special Attorney Wu you watched?
No, it's Extraordinary Attorney Wu. It's not Special Attorney Wu.
I forgot.
It's a K-drama. And, it's about a lawyer with autism, but it takes place. There's a lot of scenes that aren't in court, but a lot of the stuff takes place in court because it's about an attorney.
Yes. So they balance the rom-com elements with her
pretty good.
fascinating, which it is good.
Neon's been watching.
I've been watching
laughing about it.
And I'm like, oh, is she going to start talking about whales again? I like whales.
You do like whales.
I do.
So does Squid King a lot.
Yeah, he does. So anyway, that aside, yeah, so let's do a rousing court drama without a lot of it. I don't know how it's going to go, guys. Again, we haven't seen it. It doesn't drop until tomorrow.
It is interesting that there's all these reviews out there, but the only ones on Rotten Tomatoes at the time of this video were 3 positive. Mostly positive ones.
Yeah, but 3 out of 5 is not exactly.
But why aren't they on here? Like, if you can't say something nice, don't put it on Rotten Tomatoes, or is Rotten Tomatoes just blocking it for Disney? Like, they seem to have changed rules in the past for Disney.
The guy in charge used to work for Disney, just saying.
I mean, it's weird. I mean, it might turn out that a lot of people like it. We don't know yet. We won't know till tomorrow. But the reviews aren't, emphatic. Like, they're like, oh, the reviews are like really, really, really positive. Not from what we're seeing.
No, they look middling at best. So anyway, we're going to wrap this one up.
Yeah.
Can't blame sexism on this one.
No.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.